told we're supposed to have goals, right? In life, you gotta have your goals. Attila the Hun, Hitler, Napoleon, they all had goals, didn't they? They had short range and they had long range. Well, nowadays it's 5-year and 10-year goals, and I'm sure that maybe Hitler and maybe Napoleon had those. I'm not so sure Attila the Hun thought in those terms, but the people in Davos, the ones that want to make us slaves and we own nothing and we're happy and they want to diminish our population, they have long-term and short-term goals, I'm certain, but they're bad goals. When we homeschool, we want to make sure we have good goals. We want to have different goals. So we have been doing a series on having your best homeschool year yet. And we've been talking specifically about enthusiasm, purpose, and now we're doing goals. And my next video after this, believe it or not, is going to be on discipline. So stay tuned, stay to the end and I'll give you some more details. And let's dig into what we're talking about today. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Sherry Hayes. I'm the mom of 15 children, and I've been homeschooling for over 36 years. And I love blessing and helping mommies, but I don't want to waste your time. So maybe today, while you're listening, you could go through your old medicines and supplements. I have a whole bunch. I need to do that. So whenever I tell you what you might be doing, that's because that's what's on my list in my mind. Anyway, first we're going to dig into the bad goals we've all had according to our compulsory education and according to the educational philosophy of our time. And we're going to talk about how we can change those. Okay, now we've been trained to be these worker bees in this huge factory we call an economy. So we always think of things in terms of productivity. Now this is not necessarily a horrible, evil thing. In many ways, it's kind of biblical, isn't it? I mean, I even talk about how Proverbs says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, right? Because ants do think ahead. They do have a plan in place. I don't know if it's a plan. They just know that they've got to get their house in order and put the food in the larder for the cold times when there isn't any food. They just instinctively do this, don't they? But this is not the type of productivity we've actually been trained in, because I don't believe that we're really taught to lay things up for the future. Mostly what we're taught is to go to school, get a good job, make a lot of money so you can buy more things. That's on the lowest rung of our society. Now, on the second rung, you go to school, you get a degree which will boost you to manage others, right? So that you can help your company make more money to produce the products. So that people will work hard for your company to make more money, so they will buy more things to keep your company going, right? So the next tier is more of a managerial degree. And in that one, we're supposed to go to a good school to get that degree, and then we elbow our way to the top to gain that title so we can encourage more efficiency to keep those companies going, and then we keep people working and buying to help the economy keep the economy going, right? Now, on the highest top of this pyramid of workers and learners and educationers and all that, we have to go to the Ivy League school to get that clout, to get in the right circles, to feel we are on top of the world looking down. So we can formulate ways of manipulating industries, political bodies, and entire countries to keep people from seeing that we are using them to build a world that completely ignores God to become God. The end. Now, all this, at the center of all this, at the beginning of all this, of course, is education. And I know we thought that going to school was supposed to make us free, but I'm afraid that's been hijacked a long time ago. Years ago, our public education system has been turned into more of a brainwashing indoctrination camp. And I've gone into that in detail in previous podcasts. You can go back on the playlist. I think it's Homeschooling 101, and you'll find all kinds of interesting things in there about history that you probably never heard before. All right, and I also, the last time I went kind of over that. All right. Now, no matter how hard you examine all the textbooks in use, you're not going to find this doctrine spoken in actual words. But if you pull back and you look at the whole system from beginning and to the end, you will see that a pattern emerges. And the pattern is that they have been trying, the social engineers. I'm not trying to be conspiratorial here, okay? This is facts. You can look it up. You can look into Horace Mann and John Dewey and all these wonderful people. You can look into the Humanist Manifesto, and you can find all of this evidence just out in the open for yourself. You'll find that even well-meaning people, if they were not fearing God, they made mistakes that we're having to deal with today that have ruined our education system in America. That's why we need to be very careful when we're making goals as homeschooling mommies. We don't want to continue in that same error that has been propagated on us and passing it down to our kids and so on and so forth. Well, I think I've belabored this enough, haven't I? Let me go on. Okay. Now, our aims may actually eventually help politics and industry and all that, but only as subservient to God's aims in the big picture, right? Now, here is a prayer that Jesus taught us, and I know you know this already, but I'm going to read it to you. It's from Matthew 6, 9 through 13. In this manner, therefore, pray, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Okay, so did you notice that part? Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's where our goals for our homeschooling in the broadest sense need to be centered. Okay, it's His kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Now, as believers who have submitted to God, His goals should become our goals in all things, including in education. So when we sit down to make our homeschooling plans for the next year, we keep the higher things in mind. Now, sure, it would seem more productive to stack up the work texts, right, and go through them methodically, or even join one of those co-ops where, they just shove all kinds of information into kids' brains, and kids are like, they're shooting them off like, oh yes, I know all the capitals of all the nations of the world, and etc. and so on and so forth when they're 7 or 8 years old, but they don't know anything else. And I think it's just as mindless as compulsory education, but people are gonna probably not like that. Anyway, instead our homeschooling needs to be balanced like this. Number 1, we put the development of character and eternal understanding as the priority. Not the last thing, not at the bottom, but as our priority. The first thing in the day and the leading thing in all our other subjects. Okay, number 2, we put learning the tools of learning as second priority. Now, this gives our children the power to learn and investigate beyond the curriculum of the machine. It includes reading, writing, and beyond numeracy. Okay, I know everybody's like shooting for numeracy, but maybe there's a place beyond that even. Number 3, we give them information from the perspective of God as benevolent creator of all. Now, I'm talking about information, okay? We help them understand science, history, geography, politics, and all they touch as being part of His plans for us. We take great delight in each area as we see His workings and His delight in His creation to bless us and give us all things freely to enjoy. So we don't limit information, we give them information from a certain perspective. Okay, number 4, we make sure and immerse our children in real life activities so they can develop connections between the spiritual, mental, emotional, and practical parts of their lives. Compulsory schooling has trained us all to compartmentalize, all right? Now, we have our working self over here in one part. Our family self is another part. Our spiritual self has 15 minutes in the morning and 2 hours on Sunday, etc. Our goal must be that our children have a seamless existence, that God is in all of it. And as we are led by the Spirit, each facet of our lives is full of Him and His purposes. And we train them in excellence in all areas. If they are developing character, with their whole hearts. If they are reading or writing or ciphering, as students pleasing their master. If they are learning about mountains or whales in the ocean or the creation of energy via fusion, all with the wonder of an intellect that created all and knows all. And when I'm talking about the master and the intellect, I'm referring to God, of course. And as they apply all of their character and all of their knowledge, all of it to the betterment of others and the glory of God, we purchase materials with this perspective in mind, and we plan our days and our months with these things in mind as well. Now, what I've described here is what I call the 4 pillars of true education. And I've talked about these before in previous podcasts, and I want to go over them again in subsequent podcasts. And I hope you'll enjoy that, because I'm going to expand on each, and we're going to go into practical things on each. And I think that it will be very beneficial if you stay with me, and I think it will just revolutionize how you think about things. Okay. Now, at first, this sounds so ominous. I mean, this isn't just a book you can say and go, take and go, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. That's not what I'm talking about. So it seems actually worse than if I gave you step 1, step 2, and step 3, doesn't it? Now, there is cohesion and there is order to it, okay? But you can't homeschool this way without the leading of God. You can't do it. All right? There is no way as your little mommy self, is going to be able to handle all this and keep track of all this and keep your mind and your heart from blowing up at the same time. You can't do this without developing your dependence on Him. And He is your guide. He is your strength. He is your answer when you have hard questions. As I have homeschooled our 15 children, this is what it has been for me. And I always point people to Jesus because He's all I have. He's all I ever need. And I want people to know that they can do it this way too. Okay. Now, can I confess something to you here? I'm talking about goals. I'm talking about homeschool goals, right? So I've owned all these different planners that have a section for homeschool goals. And I mean, I have actually sat down and I've actually tried to fill the goals part out, but I never quite finish. I never quite fulfill the requirement. This is because I homeschool the way I have always lived, one step after another. God has my map, and He only gives me the part of the journey that I need to know for the immediate future. He doesn't show me where we're going to end up. Right? But as long as I'm obedient and I trust that He has the larger plan in place, I can go ahead and do that. I can trust Him. I can do just the next thing. That doesn't mean I haven't tried to step out further many, many times. And I get my efforts are so clumsy and silly that they don't really succeed, and I'm so glad. I'd rather be in the safest place in the world, which is in His will. Wouldn't you? Now, always, He brings me back to square one, and I learn to lean and trust and rest. Yes, this is where we are going, to the genius of homeschooling this way. Now, you have to have special ears for this, and a heart that has been softened. This will sound like nonsense otherwise. But if you do have a soft heart that is sensitive to His leading, this will be the only logical conclusion. This is when we truly get to enjoy learning with our children. We get to enjoy it. When we plan loosely and live each day knowing we have placed the ultimate outcome into His hands. His goal, His way for His glory. Isn't that great? Now, this doesn't mean that you can't write out a plan for if you live in a district or someplace where you have to write out a plan for your year. That's okay, because every plan that a district makes, every time a teacher submits her plan, she doesn't get to all of it. You know this. You were in public school. You know that you're handed this big, thick book, but you don't do all the book. Do you remember that? Yes. Okay. Now, please feel free to take advantage of my website, momdelights.com. I have all kinds of stuff on there. And I've been working on branding, okay? And I've got some really cool ideas. So here is a sneak peek at what I've been doing. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And please feel free to go to my freebie section where you'll find all kinds of downloads you can print out and use with your kids. And I also have pre-printed materials for sale on Amazon.com, and they're at a reduced price. As far as I got them down as low as I could and still be part of the program, because I know what it's like to need something that doesn't cost a whole bunch. And that's what I'm here for. I want to make your life easier because that's what I needed as a homeschooling mommy, and a lot of people did that for me. So you just go below, or if you're listening to this on a streaming service such as iTunes or on Spotify, all of the links to all my products should be in the podcast notes, I'm hoping. And they're below this video if you're watching on YouTube. So I hope that you enjoy all of this. I hope this hasn't confused you more. I hope this has energized you. And next time we're going to talk about discipline, and I think it's going to bring it all together in a lovely way so that you can actually start applying this and enjoying this with your children. Aha! So until next time, you be blessed in Jesus. Bye-bye.